She stormed up my driveway like she owned it. Didn't knock, didn't ask. Just started yelling about violations and rules like she was the queen of the street. Then she said something that made my blood boil. "I have the right to—" "Come in. I'm with the HOA," I told her. "No, you don't. This is private property." She smiled, stepped back, and pulled out her phone. "Fine," she said. "I'm calling 911. But here's what she didn't know. The voice on the other end of that emergency line was my wife. And what happened next? Karen ended up in handcuffs, on her knees, begging for someone to believe her lies, but it was too late, because every second of her meltdown was recorded. And justice was coming fast. If you've ever had to deal with someone who thought they were above the rules, hit that subscribe button right now. This story's about to get wild. Our street was the kind of place where nothing really happened. No sirens, no fights, just the soft buzz of sprinklers and dogs barking in the distance. This kind of quiet you don't just live in, you protect. We moved here for peace, for space, for our own slice of normal. But there's always one. You know the type. The clipboard, the sunglasses, the fake smile that stretches a little too far. They don't just follow the rules. They weaponize them. Her name? Doesn't matter. You've met her before. We all have. She's the HOA president, not elected, but self-declared. Thinks a power trip is a personality. Drives a silver SUV that she parks halfway into other people's driveways. Leaves notes on garbage bins if they're out an hour early. Walks through yards with a ruler, measuring grass like it's a military mission. She'd left notes on our door before. Called about a slightly visible trash can once. But that day, she crossed a line no one should ever cross. She didn't like how our fence was being painted. Said it violated code. Demanded to come into the backyard. I told her, no. She told me she had the authority to force her way in. I told her again, calm, clear. You step foot in that backyard, and you're trespassing. Her eyes narrowed. And then she smiled. That dangerous kind of smile. The one people make when they think they've already won. She stepped back, pulled out her phone, and said the words that triggered everything that came next. "I'm calling the cops." She thought she was about to shut us down. She had no idea she was digging her own grave. She didn't just call 911. She strutted away like a movie villain, slow, deliberate steps, already imagining us getting cuffed in front of our own home. She didn't know who was on the other end of that phone. Not yet. But let me take you back a few minutes before that call. She had marched up to my porch with a file folder in one hand and her phone recording in the other. I opened the door. Before I could even say hello, she launched into her speech. "This fence color violates HOA Code 14B.1.3. It must be beige, not cream. You've been warned." Cream? Beige? It looked the same to me, to anyone, but not to her. She kept talking, louder now, as if volume gave her authority. "You were supposed to submit a request form. You didn't. That gives the HOA rights of inspection. I need to come in and verify your compliance." I stared at her. She wasn't asking. She was demanding to walk through my backyard, uninvited, to inspect the paint on a wooden fence. I said it slowly, clearly. "You're not coming in. This is private property. You're not law enforcement, and this is not a crime scene," she snapped. "I have authority. I can enter if I suspect a code violation." Her face was red, her voice trembling, but not with fear, with fury. She was used to people backing down. Used to people being scared of her title, her threats, her clipboard. But I didn't flinch. I just stood there. No yelling. No swearing. Just silence. And in that silence, something broke inside her. She turned away, shaking her head, muttering, to herself. Then she raised her phone. "You're going to regret this," she said. "I'm calling 911. But what she didn't realize is that while she was dialing, my wife was already at work. She's a 911 operator. And that day, she was on shift. Phones ring all day at dispatch, car crashes, domestic disputes, real emergencies. But sometimes, you get a call from a drama queen with a god complex. That day, my wife answered with her usual calm voice. 911. "What's your emergency?" And then she heard it. "Yes, hi. I'm being threatened by a man at address. He's yelling, being aggressive. I'm with the HOA and I need help immediately." My wife froze. That was our address. She knew the HOA had been causing problems. We talked about it. She'd heard the name, seen the notes, and now, this woman had just lied, on a recorded line, to emergency services. "Can you describe what's happening, ma'am?" My wife asked, steady. "Yes." I approached the house to do an HOA inspection and he flew into a rage. He's screaming and I feel unsafe. My wife knew two things instantly. One, this was fake. And two, this woman had no idea who she was talking to. So she played along. "Is the individual armed?" "I don't know, but he's dangerous. He said I'd regret it. I think he's trying to intimidate me." My wife took a breath. Then, professionally, she started guiding the conversation. "Are you on the property, ma'am?" "Yes. I had to walk up to the porch. It's my job to do inspections." "And did he invite you in?" Silence. Then, "No, but I'm within my rights." Right there, my wife had her. Self-incrimination. On tape. Trespassing. False emergency call. Abuse of 911. All wrapped in a neat little package. Recorded and time-stamped. Dispatchers don't get involved. They send help, log facts, stay neutral. But this time, my wife flagged the call, labeled, "It potential false report." Sent it to officers with a note. "Caller is misrepresenting situation. Suspect may be caller herself. Proceed with caution." The moment she hung up, she called me directly. "Babe, cops are on the way. Keep the cameras rolling. Be calm." She just buried herself. And with that, we waited. 10 minutes. That's how long it took for 2 squad cars to roll up. Lights flashing. Neighbors peeking through blinds. Karen standing tall, like the hero in her own made-up movie. She waves them down like she's been saved. "Officers, over here." They don't even look at her. They walk toward me first. One officer speaks calmly. "Sir, may we speak with you?" I nod. My phone's still recording. Camera still rolling. They ask me what happened. I keep it simple. "She came onto my property, demanded to enter my backyard without permission." I told her no. She threatened to call 911. I told her to do what she had to do. Then I show them the ring cam footage. And that's when the shift happens. Their faces change. Because they've heard the call. They already know what she said. But now, they're seeing the truth. No yelling, no threats, no aggression, just a man calmly standing at his front door. The officer nods, steps back, and walks over to her. And that's when the show really begins. She launches into it. "He was aggressive. He screamed at me. I was scared, but her voice cracks. Because deep down, she knows. She's not controlling this anymore." The second officer interrupts her. "Ma'am, we've reviewed the 911 call and security footage from this address." Karen freezes. "Wait, footage?" "Yes, ma'am. The property has full video and audio, and your statements don't match the evidence." Her mouth drops open. And just like that, her story unravels. You ever see someone realize they've lost before the cops even say the words? That was her. Eyes wide, mouth twitching, trying to smile, trying to act polite. But her face couldn't hide the Panic. Wait, I didn't mean to lie. I was just scared. He was so intimidating. The officer cut her off. Ma'am, you said on the call that he was yelling. The video shows him speaking calmly. You said he threatened you. No such threat was made, she stammered. Well, he didn't say the words, but I felt threatened. That's still valid, isn't it? The officer's tone shifted. What you felt isn't what you reported. You called 911. You claimed an emergency. That's a criminal offense when it's false. Her smile vanished. She took a step back. You're seriously going to arrest me for this? I'm on the HOA board. That's when it all fell apart. She dropped the act, arms waving, voice rising, eyes wild. This is insane. He's the problem. I was trying to help the community. You're arresting the wrong person. But the second officer had already pulled out the cuffs. Ma'am, place your hands behind your back. You're being placed under arrest for misuse of emergency services, trespassing, and filing a false police report. She backed up, fast, tried to protest. No, you can't do this. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just doing my job. The officer didn't flinch. You made a false report to 911. That's a felony in this state. Click, click. The cuffs went on, and for the first time all day, she was speechless. Neighbors started stepping outside, phones out, recording. She looked around, desperate for someone to defend her. No one did. She had embarrassed too many people. Crossed too many lines. Left too many nasty notes. Now she was being walked to the cruiser in front of everyone. And all I could think was, you did this to yourself. The neighborhood was silent, except for the click of phone cameras and the hum of the police cruiser pulling away. She didn't scream anymore. Didn't argue. She just sat in the back seat, staring at the floor, lips trembling. And me? I stood, on my porch, didn't smile, didn't gloat, just let the silence do the talking. Because sometimes, silence is louder than shouting. After that day, things changed. Not overnight. But word spread fast. The HOA board quietly announced a new president, someone with actual experience and a lot more humility. Karen. She tried to come back a few weeks later, tried to act like nothing happened. But no one answered her knock. No one took her seriously anymore. She had shattered her image, and for what? Control? Pride? Ego? She got a misdemeanor charge, community service, a fine, and a permanent label, one that sticks a lot longer than any fence paint. But you know what stayed with me most? Not the arrest, not the drama. It was something my wife said that night after work as we sat in the kitchen. You handled it better than most would. You stayed calm when most people would have snapped. And that hit different, because in a world where people like her get loud to feel powerful, there's something sacred about staying still and letting the truth speak for you. You know what's wild? It wasn't just about a fence. It was never about paint. It was about control. The need some people have, to feel bigger by making others feel small. She thought power came from rules, from threats, from being feared. But real strength, it comes from restraint. From knowing you could destroy someone and choosing not to. From protecting your peace without becoming the storm. That day could have gone 100 different ways. I could have yelled. I could have threatened her back. I could have let anger win. But I didn't. Because that's the trap. People like her. They want to drag you into the mud. And when you stay clean, they sink alone. So if you've ever been targeted by someone like her, someone who thinks they're untouchable, remember this. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your power. You don't need to fight fire with fire. Sometimes the cold truth is enough to burn them down, and sometimes Karma wears a badge. Subscribe if this story hit home. If you believe in standing tall with silence, if you've ever faced a false accusation and made it out stronger, this isn't just content. It's a reminder. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just done being walked over. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.